Hey, everybody. How y'all doing on this marvelous day? Y'all, this is a marvelous day. What a day to be alive. I'm telling you, no matter what you're dealing with or going through, at least you are alive. And it's going to be hard to look at it like that, y'all, when we're going through certain obstacles, or should I say, we're going through certain hardships in life. It will feel that way. But I want to go ahead and encourage you and let you know that brighter days are coming, better days are coming, and you'll be okay eventually. All right. It's just not one of those things where we're racing to the finish line. Slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady. So you need to be consistent, okay? And you'll be just fine. But you definitely want to be steady. Make sure you're definitely steadfast and steady along with consistent. All right. My motivation on the go for today is to actually let you know that, y'all, there comes a time when you got to realize that your value doesn't depend on someone else's choice. Y'all, sometimes in life, you'll feel like when something doesn't go this way, or if someone goes in this direction or that direction, that something is wrong. You know, why didn't you hire me? You hired them. You know, why did you go with that car? Why didn't you go with this car? What happened? Listen, your value doesn't depend on someone else's choice. People choose how they choose. It's as simple as that. You're still valuable. You're still a gem. You are still somebody, honey. Do you understand me? Your value does not depend on someone else's choice. If you're shining, keep shining. If you're not shining, strive your best to start. Even if people can't see your light, continue to do it, because it's not for people. See, when you're in the right mindset, it's not about people anyway. We're trying to please the creator. We're always trying to please God. Sorry about that, y'all. Little man walked in. Hold on, let me get him this. He is a whole situation, y'all. Here you go, buddy. Can I have sugar? Mwah. Here you go. Love you. Bye bye. You're welcome. Our kids come get what they want and they just leave, don't it? Whole situation. But yeah, y'all, your value isn't depreciating. That's not how that goes. But again, depending on where we are mentally, we can feel that way. That's why I'm here to encourage you, that and to give you some inspiration, so that that's not the case. That is not the case. That your value is not dependent upon that. And not just that, y'all. When it comes time to um as far as, how can I really word this? Well, your value doesn't depend on someone else's recognition either. Your value does not depend on someone else's choice or recognition. It doesn't. Okay. Your greatness isn't for anybody else to validate. How wonderful you are, how kind, caring, nurturing, how warming that you are. That greatness that's within you, that's not for anybody. They don't. Nobody else needs to validate that for you. Nobody needs to validate for you. Okay. We need to step away from thinking that our value depreciates, or something is wrong with us because of the choices of others, or the not being seen or recognized by other people. But again, I get it. See, that's why even self-care is so important. Self-care is so important. Our community doesn't want to, in our communities, especially, our brown skin community, excuse me, the word therapist is, people still laugh at it sometimes. And that is beyond belief for me, because you have people who aren't dealing with infidelity, haven't been cheated on, they don't have, this woe or that woe, they're not worried about this or that, and they have therapists. I'm telling you, sometimes, y'all, it's what we need. Sometimes it really is what we need. That's why when I say get your attachment with God, God sets you up for success. Because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the therapist that I have was handpicked by God and sat right in my lap. You couldn't tell me anything different. But see, my process was different. See, I went through God. I took my problems to God, the creator. And God shifted and directed me to where I needed to be. I was stubborn. I was hard headed. Okay. But thank God, people who love me the most and wanted the best for me, wanted me to continue to be the best version of myself, they didn't give up. You know, everybody needs a good support system, because y'all, we go through things in life that we may not think it affects us to the extreme that we think, but a lot of times, y'all, it does. The loss of a loved one. You know, some of us are mourning people that aren't even dead. You know how hard it is to mourn somebody that's not dead, but they just moved foul, and you just have to sit back sometimes. Yeah, that's hard. Mourning somebody that is alive, that you even possibly may still have to see, converse with, or whatnot. You know, I think about loved ones that I have that are buried, that are, that are not here. I can deal with that better than having to mourn people who still walk the earth. And I'm sure many of us have been put in those positions. Again, people choose. It does not drop your value. People may not give you the recognition that you need. It does not change your value. All right. What you're doing is you're looking for outside validation, and that's going to run you crazy in your mind, honey. We don't let anything take up shop in our mind rent free. Okay. That's not what we're going to do. Make sure you solidify that relationship with the creator. Yeah, God, when you go through God first and let him direct you, I'm telling you, you get to where you need to be. You know, y'all, mm-mm-mm. It's just one of those things where you just have to taste God and see that he's good, just like the scriptures say, to be honest with you. But he really does have our back. And, for some of us, we don't even deserve it. You know how many of us don't even deserve for God to have our back? Some of us have accused God, went against God, and probably you may still be doing it to this day. Who knows? And God still will have mercy on you. It's a trick of the enemy, y'all, to have us all unwired, unlatched and all of that around here just as lost in the sauce. Whoo, sheesh, what's going on? Okay. So yeah, my motivation on the go for today, y'all, very short, very briefly. I'm not going to talk much more because I'll start going into stuff that who knows what was saved for another day. But in closing, y'all, please allow this encouragement to seep down into your soul. Your value does not depend on someone else's choice. They chose it. You are still valuable. Okay? Listen to me. Your value does not depend on someone else's recognition. Yeah, sometimes people are haters. Sometimes people just aren't even good at giving recognition. Sometimes people just don't clap for other people. Sometimes some of your biggest admirers don't give you recognition. You see why you need to pull away from trying to tie in your value to whether or not someone gives you recognition? No, baby. Because a lot of times, trust me, a lot of times it's the ones that may not be necessarily saying, they may not have a word to say, but they're admiring you, honey. That's why you keep going. You never know who you may be helping along the way, in your journey of this thing called life. All right. And that's my very brief motivation to go with you guys on today, y'all. Y'all know I want the best for everybody, and in order to have that mindset, there's just some makeovers that have to take place. And it's hard sometimes to even position yourself because sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to do these things. But one thing is for certain, if you truly have that desire in your heart, it won't be an issue. Because what's going to happen is God is going to be there to help you. Even though it still may be, you may go through, times where it's very, very hard, he'll give us the strength to endure. See, a lot of times we're around here seeking this validation and stuff from people. Yeah, it may not ever come. So let's just do the right things. Let's just, be the best version of ourselves. But there's a process. There's a way that we get there. All right. And again, if you need to get you a therapist, I'm telling y'all, get you one. It'll do you some good. I promise you. Because that enemy of ours, that adversary, if y'all know how that enemy studies things, and that enemy infiltrates the mind, but the mind is what keeps us healthy. Think about that for a moment. We need our mind to be programmed in a way to where we're productive, we're healthy, we're positive, all of these positive things. That's what the enemy attacks first, so that we start to move backwards. So those things, all those good, that the goodness about us, the greatness of us, it starts to drop off. All right, y'all. I'm telling you, this is deeper than we could ever really truly imagine. You know, and Satan gets off on playing us against one another, pawning us off one another, all of that kind of stuff. You know, so yeah, just I don't know, y'all. It's life can be crazy, can it? Life can just be truly, well, crazy isn't the word. Life is life, and I know I say that a lot now, but life is life, and it's like the best little phrase I can use to describe what a lot of us deal with deal with, maybe not on a day-to-day basis, but we just deal with from time to time. And that's just how life is life. And all right, so yeah, let's just, again, in closing, let me go ahead and close out, y'all, because I got some things to do. Excuse me. But make sure you solidify your relationship, get closer to God. And I promise you, if you get yourself into get you a good therapist, God paired with therapy is going to catapult you into greatness. Do you hear me? Okay? Do you hear me? I need to go and hug and kiss on my sister right now, who held my hand, who was there for me through the darkest moments of my life, who knows everything that I had to deal with, and encouraged me, to not only seek the help from the Most High God. Don't seek help from just the Most High God. Also, rely on God to send help your way. And sometimes that can be in the form of a great therapist, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all, God sent mine to me. Listen, when I tell you, me and her sometimes shed tears because she was meant for me. And I can feel the difference already. All right, y'all. So yeah, once again, let me go ahead and wrap it up. I need to say this again in case some more people have came in. I want you guys who just come in to hear me out. All right. Your value does not depend on someone else's choices. Okay. Let them choose. A lot of times they choose to pick me. Let them do it. And then also, it's time to realize that your value does not depend on someone else's recognition. They may never give you the recognition that you deserve. Okay. They just may not give it to you. So let's make sure that we're not tying in our value to that. All right, y'all. All right, I'm going to get up off of here. If you did get a chance to hit that like button coming in, do me a favor, hit that bad boy on the way out. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with me, y'all. I truly appreciate it. It does something for me to offer encouragement because y'all, I'm not how do I want to say this? I'm not just all together in all areas of my life. I don't have the answers for everything. I don't have the solutions for everything, you know, but I do know where to go to get the answers. I do know where to go to get the solutions. And I do know that it was one of the best things that I could have done in my life for me. Okay. A part of healing is throwing self-care in there. You got to, take out that time for that self-care because you cannot pour from an empty well. All right. And that's just a side note. That's a message because I know some of us run ourselves in the ground. A lot of us have our plates are so full. We're juggling everything. We're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. Ooh, I squeaked up for a minute, didn't I? But we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders in regards to our families, financial responsibilities for the most part, and all other types of things. But I'm here to tell you that instead of being overwhelmed and, letting it affect us in a way to which we can turn negative and not necessarily turn to God to help us, it only catapults us, in the wrong direction. And we don't want that. All right, y'all. So yeah, don't worry about the outside validation. I still remember my aha moment when it was like, you know what? I know who I am. And what's crazy is, y'all, sometimes people don't even mean what they say. Some people just don't know how to control their emotions. And this is not to make an excuse for people in general. Follow me here. Some people do not know how to control their emotions. How many of y'all can honestly say that some of the people who have done some of the, or said some of the harshest things, or done some of the most egregious things to you, they still come back and tell you how wonderful you are? You know, how, oh, you're so wonderful. Or tell you how much you may mean to them. It's like, wait a minute, how could that be possible? Don't you remember you just A, B, C, D, E, F, G? See, that's those emotions. Y'all got to stop letting those emotions have you in a chokehold. You can't undo all things. There are certain things you just cannot undo. And one of the things that you cannot do is pull back words. And that's the emotions. Y'all, I'm telling you, that's what Satan loves for us to get caught up in those emotions. Because if you can control somebody's emotions, you're pretty much going to control how they react. You're going to control how they act out and everything else. All right. Trust me, y'all, I've been through some things. All right. All right. But I sought God. And he has a way of, doing his thing. But yeah, let me get up off of here, y'all. I've been closed out and started back talking again. um, but yeah, if you didn't get a chance to hit that like button coming in, do me a favor, hit it on the way out. Enjoy the rest of the day. I hope you enjoyed this Motivation on the Go with Shay on today. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon, okay? All right. Peace out. Bye-bye.